Hey, it's Don, the Auction Professor here, live again today. Marky's going to be out here, the wife. We're going to bring some records out too. And then I had just had some touches on some other things going on here. Things that people do, and, besides just eBay. We sell on many platforms, 9 platforms total. I talk about quite a few of them. I talk about Amazon, I talk about eBay. I haven't talked a lot about Etsy, but I do talk about Etsy, and then I also talk about Discogs. Now, there are some other sites we use. There's a specific postcard site, a postage stamp site, sci-fi site, things along that line too. So, and there are art sites. We do have a merch by Amazon. We do have a homemade by Amazon. We do other things like that. We do have a business-to-business account on Amazon. These are all other aspects of Amazon that a lot of people don't talk about, but I'll probably touch a little bit on like the business-to-business aspect of Amazon, as well as maybe the merch by Amazon. I know a lot of people have talked about that. There's not much to it. Once you get approved, you get an invitation. It's pretty much just free for you to do. So it's basically shirt designs and things along that line. So just FYI on that. I'll probably touch on some of that. I've touched on some of the other things. I've got a Kickstarter running, and it hasn't gone very far. So, no problem. You never know until you try something. I learned quite a bit from putting one up there, and I actually got some feedback from people who have had some successful. So I'm going to use this as a learning experience, and I've got several more ideas that should go well. Printed material sells better in my avenue of artwork. So we're going to hit it a different avenue, a different way. So I'll probably touch on some of that as well, too. And then I've got some craft things that I'm going to show here, actually start to finish how to make, because I've got a lot of questions on that. I've got a video coming up on some of the things that I do more in depth on things. I get questions like, what do I sell? Where do I find stuff at? All the time, and I do mean all the time. When I couldn't find stuff, I figured, what could I make myself? What could I make and sell that's going to make me money? And I'm going to go over some of those items and areas about what I do, because again, you see some of what I do. You see the postcards, and I've shared some of my figures and stuff like that, and that's pretty much what I'm going to talk a little bit about in another video too, because when you can't find enough stuff to source, you got to do something else. You got to either find wholesale or retail arbitrage, which works perfectly fine, or make it yourself or something along that line. And there's people that just live off of crafts, doing stuff for crafts specifically and things along that line too. We know people that do the Christmas bazaars and work through 3 months or so just before Christmas for extra funds, and they'll make wreaths and all these kind of things, and they'll spend the money to set up like at a Christmas, like a winter exposition or something along that line. I don't know what you'd want to call it. Maybe bazaar, Christmas bazaar, I guess would be a better term for that. And then they could make $3,000-4,000 a day for a 4-day event. So they're making a ton of money just when they want it, which is just before Christmas. So, anybody who tells me that they can't find something to sell or something, you're just not thinking or looking hard enough, because there's always something you can do making it yourself. I mean, and there's stuff that you can mass produce at your house, from just ordinary stuff that you can make a ton of money on. And it's just so much opportunity, I have to say. I hear people just saying all the time they just can't find it, and that just drives me nuts. I guess that's a pet peeve for me, just because we did whatever it took. I started drawing when I was like 6 or 7, like Star Wars characters for a nickel or a dime for kids in school even. So, and then I did Kiss in 76, 77 and things like that, and the Kiss cards came out, and we did a lot of stuff like that. But that's what I started. By 14, I was drawing Disney characters in watercolors, and then selling them to somebody else, who then he sold them at there used to be in malls, there used to be like entertainment and collectibles shows, and he would set up there, and he would do like a tour of these places and stuff. They still semi do antiques in the malls sometimes around here, rarely. It's usually a more rundown mall, but that's what I used to do. That's where my history comes in. I sold it since I was 7. I sold my first thing. So, it's always something you can do. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be eBay. A large chunk of our business comes from wholesale. I don't show it because, again, I'm not going to give away my bread and butter and where I get the majority of my income from. I just can't show everything, What I love the most, I don't really love wholesale. It's a money thing more than anything else. But I love the antiques. So, you do, and you talk about what you like, which is what this channel is, as you can tell. But we're going to go off into some other tangents, I guess you could say, in collectibles. I've got a real good bolo coming up here. I've got some more record hauls. As I said, I'm going to show you craft items, how to make something specific. I've already discussed in the Patreon, so they know it's coming out, but it's going to be a surprise for everybody else. And for those in Patreon, I've got that video coming out that we discussed as well tomorrow. Internet's been crazy slow around here for anybody who is up in the Arctic, in this area up here. It was 14 below in the morning when the sun was up. In the middle of the evening or middle of the night when it was dark the other night, my deck thermometer, it's above the ground like 10 feet, 15 feet, because it's on a deck, but it was 17 below zero on my thermometer the day before. Our kids have been out of school for 3 days now, just because of this. The mail didn't pick up, excuse me, so I literally had to go out and deliver the mail to the post office today because none were running. Yesterday they did the same thing without it being announced, which I don't blame them. You know, it was pretty darn cold. I wouldn't want to be delivering mail walking through snow-covered yards, and we've got snow on the ground. There's ice everywhere, so, you know, I haven't been out much. We've been just doing stuff around here. I've went through some records. The wife's going to join me in just a few minutes. We're going to pull out some records as well and talk about some records. I got more comments and questions on records than I think I've gotten on any video in probably the last month and a half, 2 months. So, you know, that was kind of interesting. We've been selling records for, 20 years I've been into records. My first record was Talking Heads. And I think it's called And She Was. I think that's the name of it. But it's got... Stay Up Late's on that one, and that's one of my favorites from them. So, and you know, I used to listen to Talking Heads, you know. In fact, my mom found that one at a garage sale. It was the first record. I said, if you ever find that record, the next day she was out, she went to a garage sale and literally came home with, for a quarter, that Talking Heads LP. So I've been into LP since 76, 77, 78, somewhere there. I was 7 or 8 when I put my first record on the turntable. So my history with records goes way back. They've never left. For anybody who says they're coming back, they've never left. There's always been records produced. There's not as much quantity. When you look at like the Tonight Show or any of those, they always hold up a record these days, and they've been doing that for years now too. So records haven't left. Anyway, they're still here. Let's look at the questions here as I see we building up. In just a couple minutes, the wife will pop in here, and I've got a big stack that we just grabbed out of one of the boxes. The first one in here is going to be one that might bring back some memories to some folks here. Welcome, everybody. Rock and roll. I see Carl, Treasure Experts. Let's see here. Shaded Dogs while still listening. Hang on, let's see where we're at. My feed's terrible. So around here, my upload on videos has been like slow as can be. I don't know if it's affected by the weather or something, but literally it was taking like 3 hours to do a 15-minute video, and they were timing out constantly. If I ever source at Walgreens, I buy at Walgreens occasionally. Kroger's I have better luck on, just FYI. If you're going to RA, Kroger's has been much better. They've usually got a section in the back on the left-hand side by the pharmacy, and most of the ones that I have seen. Plus, they have tables and things along that line. So Kroger's is usually pretty good. It's the best after the holiday season, first week in first quarter, or the last week in fourth quarter of last year is usually the best time to go to Kroger's, but... welcome, Mike. I see you're new. Glad to have you. I just like hunting too. So no matter where I go, if I'm looking, I know the Bearded Picker and some of the other channels that I talk to and I watch as well, I can't go anywhere without looking at stuff, and it's just the wife gets crazy on it sometimes. Why don't we bring the wife on in? She's just came on down the steps here. Let's make sure everybody's in the shot. I think everybody knows the wife. Hello. Here, so everybody in the shot here, Ian? We good to go?
Oh, this one.
Yeah, we got a little stack of records, as I said. She's already looking at the first one up here. So let me see where we're at here, see if anybody got anything going on. Hello, David. Yes, I do holiday markets and craft fairs for extra cash around the holidays. Yeah, I mean, J.I., that's just a perfect example. I know a lot of people do, God, there's just so many things you can do these days. And there's so much ability to market and, you know, just find other avenues to sell. I mean, anybody who tells me they can't find something's just not looking hard enough. I mean, I just can't say that enough, because every time I go somewhere, I don't think there's a place we've went for anything that I haven't walked home with something for sale. I mean, no matter what, even if we go to the mall or at the store or something. I got a jacket up here too. In fact, we went out today. I literally had to go to the post office. I stopped by one store, and I got a jacket. I don't buy much clothing, but this one I'll have to show you. This is a throwback here. So anyway, we'll get it out in just a minute. Well, welcome, Farm Girl. Glad to have you.
That's very
Well,
nice.
thank you very kindly.
Very sweet.
Welcome, Annie.
Congratulations on the record haul. We could
Oh,
sleep
jeez, that's funny, Annie.
We could sleep on the records.
Yeah, we could make we could literally make a DJ booth with the walls and everything with the records. Thank you, Carl. Let's slide down there just a little bit. Will Gen Z want CDs like millennials are going after vinyl? I would say no. I think MP3s have pretty much dominated. MP4s have dominated the market. I don't think most people even mess with CDs. I haven't had a CD. I'll take that back. We got one from the library just because I wanted a copy of something. I don't pay for anything when we get something. We got David Bowie's. It's got "I'm Afraid of Americans" on it. So I remember that one. It's got Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails, and we both like Bowie anyway. But that one I liked especially. The video is even good.
Some of his old, and I don't know if it has any of his songs from his album.
It's his last CD.
I don't think there's.
Yeah, I don't think there's any of the new ones on there, but it's his last CD. I think that he published like a greatest hits kind of compilation.
Like a collage.
He was still alive when that one was published, but anyway, "I'm Afraid of Americans" was the one I wanted off of it.
Carl loved Kroger's, but moved to Florida. Yeah, we lived.
Yeah,
in
we
there.
lived in Florida for a while.
Publix, but it's
Publix
not Kroger's.
Goodings, I think, was the better one.
Goodings.
Yeah, there was one in Claremont, Florida, if you're familiar with the area that we used to go to. It was on like Highway 50 between Winter Garden and Claremont.
Publix had a good deli there, though.
Yeah, we liked Publix. Publix wasn't. I got food poisoning from the Food Lion on Highway 50 in shoot, what was that? What was that street we used to live on over there?
All I can think of is Grandview.
It's Hiawassee, maybe. It's now towards Hiawassee, but I got food poisoning from a Food Lion out there from seafood actually.
Yeah, that was horrible.
There is one issue that I wanted to discuss, just because I've received maybe 20 some odd emails on asking another channel to be on their channel or something like that. And it's one specific, and there's a couple other channels that I got. In December, I was hit up by another channel, and I'm not going to call any names, and there's no hard feelings, but I just want to put this out there because I responded to a post and then immediately deleted it. Someone emailed me and apparently saw that post, and I've gotten other emails and posts about the same basic thing, so I just wanted to address this. I got an email about appearing on another channel, and the other channel is a fairly decent-sized channel. Good content and all, but it was the week that my son we found out about his medical condition. I saved the email, so if anybody ever tries to challenge this, but anyway, the point of it is that I told them I would have to see, what the whole point of what their talk was, and they mentioned some people I wasn't familiar with. And I think the person was put off that I didn't immediately jump and drop everything I was doing to get back with them. And from that point, I literally sent another response that said, basically my son's got a heart condition, which we're still dealing with. He's got some other issues now that are, related to things he can't eat now. And so there's other things going on here that we're still, haven't figured out yet. And it's going to be a long thing. It could be, a nightmare for a long time. So it happened on that week, and the person was put off that I wouldn't drop what I was doing, and that's kind of soured me on going on another channel. I even, a couple weeks ago, sent another email to this person, again, if they felt slighted. I don't know why somebody would with the situation, but if they did, that, hey, I'm sorry, it wasn't meant that way. My son's got some issues. We've got, medical bills and all this other stuff going on, and I don't know if anybody knows what all these tests cost, but it's a lot of money. So
and our son comes first.
Yeah, and it was just put off like I should just drop what I'm doing and hop on someone's show because they're more important than me. And I guess that kind of set me off a little bit. And I have no hard feelings because I don't really care. No one has to give or do anything for me. And I don't ask for stuff like that. So I just want to put this out there. There are some channels that I would probably go on. If I ever invited somebody on here, probably the first one would be Wade from Wade's Ventures, only because, he was gracious enough to put me on his channel and things like that. There's another channel that's, he makes stuff and he does like toys and things too that I was contemplating. And we've talked. So, you might see somebody else on this channel. I don't want to delude what we do here because we're us, and I'm not trying to be somebody else's channel or cater to a specific. You either get us or you don't get us, and at least that's how I look at it. So
we got
Anyway, so we'll decide on that, but there's no hard feelings with any other channel. But the other channel wasn't. They wanted an immediate answer. They wanted me to drop what I was doing and do it. And my week that week was just horrid at finding out with our youngest child. So it was an emotional bad time for us,
Yes.
and it still is an issue with us. So I'm not going to drop what I'm doing, as she said before. Our family comes first. So you can ask all you want from other channels or whatever else, but I'm not looking for anybody to go out of the way to approach another channel, and I would never want to deter anybody's opinions towards another channel. But I just wanted to put that out there because I have got a couple emails about the post that was deleted. And I've had many emails, as I said, and many people actually post comments about that as well too. So I just wanted to clear the air so there's no misconceptions or anything like that. But let's just go on from there.
Hi from the UK. Love your enthusiasm.
Well, thank you, Will.
Thank you. And
Where's
where's
Jinx?
Jinx?
Yeah,
she's asleep.
It's like 5 below zero, I think, outside or
She
something
made a
like
little
that.
a little nest
A
in
burrow.
the blankets on the sofa.
Yeah, we have blankets just for the dogs because they're small, and if you take them outside when it's below zero, you have to walk them out there. They can freeze and get frostbite with how small they are and close to the ground
And she
and
will
all.
not wear shoes.
Yeah, we've tried that.
She would rather freeze to death than lay in the snow than walk in little dog shoes.
Yeah, we went over that before. She just rolled over on her side and wouldn't move.
Yeah,
in the
she's
middle of
stubborn.
winter on ice, she just wouldn't move. She hated those little boots.
She's a stubborn little
Well,
kitty.
thank you, Heather. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you very kindly. I mean, we try to put out content that people enjoy, and I do appreciate when people do stuff like the super chat. So thank you, Heather S.
And new reseller, I just loved all the information you provide to newbies like me.
Well, thank you, Heather. I'm gonna do some. It's basics. I don't put a lot of basics on here. I've had questions on stuff like that. I've got a video coming out on doing some more on marketing and increasing your sales. Just because a lot of people are having issues. Now, the last 2 or 3 days for us, my thing was going off the hook with sales. Everybody with what we sell is in the house right now. They're not going anywhere. All the roads are closed. The older folks that buy what we sell, or the collectors. I've been selling a lot of stuff these last couple days. It's increased my sales. It may not be for everybody, but for us, sales have just went ding, 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 ding. I was trying to do a video the other day, and it just kept going off. And I don't like to have those in my video, so sometimes I just don't have the time to sit there and try and stop those from coming in and cutting video. So the other day I just had to stop because it was going off so much. Black Star, which Black Star is the one that we were hoping. I think maybe this was one right before it. His last greatest hits CD, I think, is what this one is. It's upstairs on the kitchen table.
We don't have Black Star yet.
Yeah, we don't have that
Yet.
one. Yeah, she wants it. We'll get it from the library too.
It's well below zero, and I just picked up my auction haul from the online auction in my town.
Well, good. Get it back to the house.
I hate to click this because it usually...
Yeah, it bounces around.
Right here.
Back in the 90s, vinyls at garage sales for 25 cents or less.
Earthling.
People are doing the same with CDs. CDs just don't sell as well, Mike, in my personal opinion. Now, we sell some on Amazon, too. We do have a wholesale contact, so we do have invoices, which is the key to getting in there. I mean, obviously, you have an older account on Amazon. I know some folks who are grandfathered in. We were able to sell a couple things because we used to sell 5-6 years ago on Amazon, and then they asked for an invoice not too long. It was a toy thing, no big deal. We didn't have much of them left, but it was just the principle that they do stuff like that to you. Where were we at?
Right here.
Earthlings in the name of the Bowie album with I'm Afraid of Americans.
Great record.
Yeah, I like that album. I mean,
no.
we just picked the greatest because there was only a couple songs.
Glenn, he got food poisoning.
Charlotte, oh wow. Yeah, we don't go back and haven't been, even when we lived there. When there's no food line around here.
Well, then they had made the news because they bleached all their old chickens.
Yeah,
so
they were
it
bleaching
wouldn't
the chicken.
stink.
Yeah, that
You
was
know,
another
right
one.
after it's always nice to find out.
Let's see here.
Yes, family first, Anthony.
Yeah, I think anybody who watches this know our family here's first.
Thrifting debt. Been binging watching. I can't speak. Excuse me. Binge watching your videos in
Thrifting
Columbus.
debt.
I
Columbus,
have family,
Ohio,
I
I'm
have family
assuming?
in Columbus.
There's several Columbuses
Ohio,
too. Yeah,
yeah.
there's Columbus, Georgia too. So
Oh, did I just mess it up?
no, you're fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I talked about going on another channel. That's why I said, I wanted to know what the other person had in mind. They mentioned another person, and I literally planned to reach out to that person, but I haven't. apparently some other folks asked this other person to have me on. He contacted me, and I don't want to go into that because I'm not trying to dog on anybody else. But, I don't have to take anything from anybody else, and I do my own thing. So if I don't sync or somebody thinks that's being rude or something, our son was put in the hospital for something we had no clue on a spur of the moment notice. I've got all the records to back what up I'm saying. I'm not a makeup artist or anything. I'm not sitting here trying to feed some line, but it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. That's why I haven't run on some of the other channels, and I get comments and people hitting me up on appearing on other channels. You can say that I've only been on one, Wade's Ventures, and that's it. Wade's a pretty nice guy. His mom has some issues, so pray for him if you know who Wade is. But anyway, I don't go on many. Wade was very polite. He's got a young child, and I appreciate that. I get that. I'm a family person, so Wade struck out. I've seen his wife in there, his other half too, and his mom's in his video. So he's family oriented. So I'm not saying there's other ones, because I really like the Bearded Picker and RVA Flips and Rise and Grind and some of those guys. They do a lot of what I do. I just don't talk about it. I'm not a big fan of driving around and getting RA, but I do it just because it's extra money and it's easy money. I just send it in a box and I don't ever have to see it again unless it comes back. But
Heather, I'm always taking notes when watching your videos.
Well, thanks. That's good to hear. I try to put out what I can to help people, but some people just aren't going to take advantage of it, or it's just not their area. I know people who do RA don't cross over very well to what we talk about sometimes, but I do RA too. And even like I've got a stack of My Little Ponies up here from December that we picked up in the end of December. They're right up on the top. But anyway, I could sell them. I couldn't sell them on Amazon, so I sold them on eBay. And on eBay, I was paying $7 for the first batch and $13 for the second. They were brand new at Walmart for $49.99, and I was getting $45 to $65 on eBay for those same ones. So, I've got a few left. I've made it up enough where if I throw these out, it's not going to matter. Who could care less? You make $200-300, off of something, and you get a few left. Who cares? I've already made my money back. So, and I still have the receipt, so I could just take them back. We might just give them away for gifts, or I'll hang on to them for next year. I've got boxes of stuff we set away for next year, and then when next year comes, you can crank it out again. It's not available anymore, so they're now new products, and it's something that's going to sell. So, other people do that. Yeah, thanks, Farm Girl. Wade was enjoyable. It was nice to go on somebody else's channel. There's a few others that I would probably go on too, but.
And then Black Crystal.
Your content is so good. Protect your energy. YouTube will burn you out and drama is coming. Yeah, I'm not trying to cause any drama. I only wanted to address the other channel issue just because I did get some emails, and I did post something that I later decided after the person I posted it to made another comment. I figured it would just be wise not to. I'm not trying to steer anybody or make anybody's mind up on any other channel. What they do and what they talk about is what they do, and what I do is my business. So, I'm not going to downgrade another channel. He's got his own opinions. I've got my own opinions. I've got no hard feelings towards really anybody. I don't really care. We go about our thing, and I don't even think about that. But I got hit up again with an email on that, so I just wanted to address it today.
At Duncan, up here.
Duncan. How you doing, Duncan? Duncan from Australia. I would say throw another shrimp on the Barbie, but I didn't want to do that to you.
You just did.
I know. We got it in there. Yeah, the notifications, you have to constantly hit the bell to reactivate them, and I think now if you hit it, it gives you a little notice that you can have it done frequently, often, or all the time. I think they've given you 3 options for the bell now.
Oh, right here, Farm Girl. Her burn accident. Ooh, jeez.
Yeah, I saw some of the photos, Farm Girl. Yeah, that was not good. So I'm glad to see you're back up and around, of course. Welcome, Rusted Raccoon. Will, are you a fan of long-term storage of modern paper-safe food labels to be listed in years to come? If they're modern, I don't keep modern stuff. I don't mess with it. I'm a vintage person. 90s or before. If it's food labels, I'm not going to mess with the food label unless it's 1950s, say, and before that. Just my personal preference.
I just read the throw a spider on the Barbie.
Throw a spider on the Barbie. Yeah, we were big Steve Irwin fans. I mean, real big fans. I mean, that would be the only reason I would step foot. in your on your continent there, just because of the spiders. I was bitten by a brown recluse here in this country, and
Both of us.
well, both of us were. I
Yeah.
had one. I have a pit up here on my face, even actually from it. But the point of it was that I was bedridden for 2 months, and that was compared to the funnel web and some of the spiders over there. I would be paranoid the entire time I was there, and that I'm serious because.
Yeah.
I could have died from this. I mean, they were afraid, and I was getting, intravenous antibiotics, and I was taking double strength pills on top of it, like 2 different ones at the same time. I mean, I was on a concoction
It
of
wasn't a fun
antibiotics that was just extreme, and I was nauseous and sick for 2 months. I lost weight. I've never gained most of it back from then either, so, I can't eat certain things. I've got some internal damage and stuff from one.
The backdrops.
Hang on just a second. Let me make sure. Storage. Oh, thanks, Rusty Raccoon. Yeah, there's a lot of reseller videos that are good that are out there. I don't watch too many these days. I just don't have time.
Thimbles right here. Carl wants
Yeah,
to...
I've got a bin back here actually with probably like 30 or 40. I sell thimbles. Sometimes you'll get lucky enough and walk up on a whole bunch. It comes right back into me talking about, we buy sewing stuff, sewing cabinets and stuff. We've got a sewing machine. We can sew and all that kind of stuff, but...
Well, I can't.
Well, she can't, but she can do the basics.
I can safety pin stuff together.
She helps out. Let's just put it that way. But you'll run into thimbles and stuff. I get advertising ones. I've got porcelain ones that are painted like Wedgwood and things along that line. I'm lucky enough I found some sterling ones, just because usually thimbles look black when they're sterling, and they've been sitting in a box because they're closed up in there and stuff, and they're usually black. So I've gotten some really nice sterling ones. I had a real nice brass one from like the Civil War that we got like $65 for. So I do look out for thimbles. In fact, why don't I write that down and I'll add that to my list. As I said, I always keep a list of stuff. I got 300 or 400 different ideas. I write that stuff down constantly on pieces of paper. I've got little posties. Yeah. Sometimes there's like 50 little things scribbled on them.
We have posties everywhere.
Yeah, I'm a postie person.
It's normal. Right here, Duncan. Missed the show last week.
Watching Clint Eastwood. I think, what was the...
I just watched the Gran Torino with...
Gran Torino, that was the one,
with our youngest son, and
I've
we
seen
both
it
like
before.
that. Let's see. Right here, Wally.
My wife got bit 20 years ago by a brown recluse. She was really sick. Yeah, I have a pretty nasty scar.
It looks like somebody broke into the house and poisoned him.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Ripped out his kidney and left him with this nice scar. That's what it looks like.
I had an open wound.
It's horrible.
Like that big for 2 months. It was just all the skin turned black and necrotic. Yeah, it wasn't pleasant.
And Farm Girl right here.
Live in PNW, would never do it anywhere else.
Too many poisonous creatures. Yeah. Poisonous snakes, poisonous spiders. There's trees that you don't even want to go up against.
Golden orb. I don't think golden orb weavers are dangerous, though.
They make gold thimbles, too.
Yeah, they make gold thimbles. Usually I see like 9K on the thimbles, or they'll be marked like with, an 80 or a 750. I think 750 on the gold ones is what I see. I see those on like European ones.
And the golden orb weaver spider.
Yeah, we've seen those around here.
Yeah. I mean, when we were in Mississippi, they had the other I forgot.
Brown widows.
Yeah, brown widows. And...
We had black widows in Mississippi too. Welcome, RVA. How you doing? RVA does have a pretty good channel. He does a lot of RA, which I do talk about occasionally. We make a lot of money on RA, so if you need RA information, him. There's the Bearded Picker is awesome on that, and so is Rise and Grind. They do a lot of good videos on those.
Wally wants add black souvenir spoons to the list.
We do souvenir spoons too. Excuse me. I picked up a bag. I got 15 Spanish-American War 1898 spoons the other day. It has Remember the Maine on all of them.
And then Rusted Raccoon, Hang 'em High. Oh, yeah. I have watched that movie with my dad.
Yeah. Why don't we've got some time. We'll answer some questions here in a few minutes. Let's move this here.
Oh, yeah. Just don't spill the wine.
Why don't we, I'll pull out a couple and she can pull out a couple. Let's see how, it's going to take a second to see where I'm at in the video just because of the delay on here. But for those of you who did not know, Eddie Murphy had a singing career out for a year or two. And in fact, honestly, Party All the Time I like the song.
I had the little record of
the
Party All the
45
Time,
of it, yeah. So I remember this. I actually sold him ice cream at Walt Disney World. He came right up to where I was at. He's shorter than I am, and I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'8" or something. But I've always liked Eddie Murphy. I've liked him since Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood back in Saturday Night Live.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been a big fan. You know, I was really happy to actually meet him in person. You know, he was very humble. He seemed just like a normal guy to me. So, I mean, I was, you know, kind of surprised. It's not something that usually happens.
Our kids watch his Netflix.
Yeah,
Netflix,
you know, our
specials.
kids watch all that stuff.
Where do you want me to put this one?
Just carefully set it down on the floor. Or set them right
I'll just
wherever.
put it right here. It's fine.
Yeah, let me grab a couple more, and then I'll let her grab a few. I just grabbed a stack. So, you know,
45.
you get what you get out of this stack. Oh, Dr. Dre. I don't know. Marky probably doesn't know this one here, but...
I know Dr. Dre.
Well, you probably don't know this record. This is an early one. The Wrecking Crew. Let's see here. Is there a date on this? I don't see a date. Someone probably is going to kill me for not knowing the date on Dr. Dre. I still don't see a date on it, so I'm not really sure. This is an early one. It's a single. I guess this is probably when he first came out because it's pretty generic looking cover art-wise here. So it's got the cello on it. The record looks like it's never been played.
Yeah, looks nice.
I don't know the song, but I will listen to this. You know, I've listened to quite a few Dr. Dre's in my day. Let's just put it that way. Oh, this one I'll probably keep. For all those who have, you know, who grew up in the 70s and stuff, I saw this with my father, so you know this brings back memories. I know Glenn Campbell was in it. My mom liked Skyrockets, isn't that Glenn Campbell? Or Southern Sunflower.
And Southern Nights.
Southern Nights, that's the one I was thinking about.
Rhinestone Cowboy.
Yeah, Southern Nights is
Sunflower
the one.
is your
Yeah.
mom's favorite.
But anyway, so that's pretty cool. I'll keep that. Hal Wallace. A lot of Elvis movies were made by Hal Wallace too.
Oh, somebody put 1983.
I figured somebody would do that. My girl likes to party all the time.
Homina.
Yeah, you guys remember the old Saturday Night Live? You know, these days are just terrible. I mean, I
think that was a stand-up, not the Saturday Night Live.
Oh well, yeah, for the Mr. T line, or I think, yeah. Yeah, this is honestly, and you know, I'm not trying to brag, and I'm not trying to go on about this, but we just don't find records like this, and I've been doing records for 20 plus years, and this just blows me away. There's a ton with radio station markings, and there's a ton that are like unnamed records, so I'm sure without a doubt that most of these are from a record. That one I found out has some nudity on it, so I've got a postie on it.
Okay.
Somebody was interested in a couple of them. I've had some questions on some of the records. I might put some for sale in my Facebook group if there's people that want specifics. I'll let, you know, subscribers and members of my group get dibs on them before I list them up anywhere else, I think.
Mike wants to know, was the storage unit all from a radio station?
No, it was not. It's a mix from what it looks like. I'm guessing it's like someone's, maybe they used to work at the radio station, they kept the old stock and then mixed some more in it.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean it. But
yeah, raw, that is it.
Yeah.
Another John Wayne, so I like soundtracks. I don't remember watching this with my dad, so I probably wouldn't keep it, but it looks like a decent record. I don't know if you remember that. Your dad probably watched that.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's a real nice copy, man. It's like mint. I don't know what these are worth. I'm guessing at least $10. I don't usually sell any of the war cowboy western for less than $10.
What's this one?
This is exactly what I'm talking about here. This record, I'm going to show you the first side. I think you can see it on the. Let me see. This one literally has nothing written on it. It's just got some stampers, and then on the other side it's Stephanie Mills' Last Night, but it's like I don't know what you'd call it. Maybe a test pressing of some sort. I don't even know what the song is. If it is Last Night, maybe, I don't know. I don't want to hit you on that. But it was kind of surprising. There's a bunch of this kind of stuff in there. These are usually really good. It could be like a sound or a take of the song that wasn't pressed or wasn't released for mass production. So anyway, let's flip through. I don't want to spend all day just doing records. I have no idea what this sounds like other than it's probably theological music. It's from Dayton, Ohio. So hopefully you can see that on there. It looks interesting. Again, the Christian and the Zion music sells very well, at least from my personal experience. Some of the Zion can sell for like $1,000, and Zion's just a folksy, almost like a psychedelic. Oh, you found one you like.
I found one that I like.
It's like a psychedelic Christian music. It's kind of like Stryper was. If anybody knows who Stryper was in the '80s, they're a heavy metal Christian band which sang "To Hell with the Devil." You know, they wore literally like black and yellow striped outfits and stuff. There's other ones too that were that way too.
Kathy, hello. I have a few minutes before my day job starts.
Welcome,
Ooh,
Kathy.
what?
Oh, that's an awesome
and
find. I'm
Annie.
excited for you. I hope to find a score like that someday. Well, we didn't expect the score to be. Wrecking Crew was before NWA, so that goes way back. Huh, I did not know that. I remember NWA, Straight Outta Compton. You know, I haven't seen the movie or anything, but you know, we don't see movies out in public usually these days. But I'll show one more, and I'll let the wife pull a couple. Otis Rush, Morning in the Morning. I'm assuming he's Working Man, My Old Lady. I'm assuming it's R&B, blues.
I'll listen to it.
Yeah, we'll probably throw it on. I like this kind of stuff too, so let's look at what the record looks like. Don't ever get excited until you actually look at the disc. And this one looks really nice. It's a cotillion. It's a standard. It's a common label, I should say, but I never get excited until I look at the record itself. If you buy records, don't buy them without opening it and looking what the record is, because sometimes they put the wrong one in there. Do radio station markings decrease the value? It's not going to help the value unless it's a promo, Annie. If it's a promo, if it's a white label promo, you'll see WLP in the title of an eBay listing or Discogs listing or even on Amazon. If it's a white label promo and there's stampings from a radio station, I wouldn't even worry about that as being a condition factor, because you're going to expect that on a radio station. Now, if it's a regular copy of it and they've just stamped a bunch of radio station stuff, probably not. Some write, and I've gotten some in here where they wrote with big black magic marker, WAOR, whatever the station was, whatever the name was too. So anyway, she's got a couple she's found, or at least one right up on top here. I'll let her pull out.
The Moody Blues. Can you see that?
Yeah, I think
yeah. I mean, this is a... I used to have this.
Knights in White Satin.
Yeah. Twilight Time, Tuesday Afternoon. Moody Blues. Those, I like the Moody Blues.
They were here and they did a concert, and they actually had like a 50 or 60 piece symphony orchestra with them. I don't know if it would be called symphony, but it was a like 50 or 60 piece orchestra. It was a huge event that they did. We didn't get to go, but you know, it would have been nice.
I've never been to a concert. I've
been to a whole bunch
never
of them.
Been.
Yeah, you're not missing a whole bunch.
I could have gone to the David Bowie Glass Spider tour when he was in New Orleans, and I was supposed to sneak out my bedroom window, and my friends were going to pick me up, and my dad saw my legs hanging out the window, and I got grounded. I didn't make it to the Glass Spider tour.
Just grab a couple and we'll just
This
go.
one looks...
Oh, I've heard of Mississippi John Hurt. This is...
opens.
Yeah, it's a gatefold. It's a Vanguard. It's probably not worth a fortune. 15, 20 bucks, I would gather. Let's, before we go any farther, look at the record. Again, look at the record. Hey, let me show you one more thing since we're talking about... It's got dust on it, too. When I talk about records and being able to tell up the first presses, this is the label, obviously. And your first track, hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. The first track is here in the dead wax, which is the space between the label and the first track of the record. Usually there's engravings. There's numbers on those, like S1, E1. There's all kinds of numbers, and they're called stampers, matrix and stampers. And that's how you can distinguish, for the most part, what's a first pressing versus a second. Now, there's a whole big complex thing to figure these out, so you'll have to check with some big information. And for the most part, it won't matter for these type of records, unless you're talking about like $1,000 record. It's going to matter, because like the represses, which there are on some very few records, they've either done them manually or they've done them with a machine, and it's the wrong version. Like the original on some records were hand engraved, and the original on other records were actually machine stamped. So it's a big mixed bag on trying to tell which one's which.
Right here.
Radio station CDs do well. The promo ones, yes. Any of the promo, I'll show it back in here for you. The promo CDs do sell. That is one thing I can tell you. Like if it's some of the promo CD packets, we've gotten a M&M once before that was it was the real Slim Shady. I think it was the Slim Shady show or something, and it came with like a bunch of stuff, like photos. It was like a press kit for it. That CD that came in there alone, just the CD without the press kit, was like $350. We got somewhere in that range for it, and it was just the CD we had. We didn't have the press kit, unfortunately.
And Kent's in
NOLA.
New Orleans.
NOLA.
You don't say that.
NOLA, come on. Threshold of a Dream is my favorite. I'm not a big fan. Nothing wrong with Moody Blues. They've got. I like Singer in a rock and roll band and things like that. I like the
Ride
heavier
My
stuff.
Seesaw.
Ride My Seesaw is okay. I like heavy stuff
I like
more.
Moody Blues. I really
Nothing
like
wrong with it. You know that. We listen to them.
Kent, I grew up in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, right on the Gulf Coast there. So I used to skip school a lot and go to New Orleans. Good times. Oh, and right here, the David Bowie Spiders from Mars concert.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going to that. I liked.
Well, I was 2 years old, so I couldn't.
Well,
go
I
to
couldn't
that
win either,
one.
but I wouldn't mind if went to the Glass Spiders tour. What was the song? Day In Day Out. I loved that song when it came out. So I love the
Beat of
video.
Your Drum's a good one too.
Yeah, the Beat of Your Drum.
Yeah.
My favorite though was Day In Day Out. I love the video too for that
Yeah.
one too.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked him with Mick Jagger. Their song
Dancing in the Streets.
Dancing in the Streets too. You know, that's the era I remember David Bowie with China Girl and Modern Love.
I grew up listening to my
Fame
cousin's
and-
records, the Man Who Sold the World.
Yeah, I love that one too. Like half that album
good
is just
one.
an awesome album.
And then
Running Gun
Nirvana.
Blues.
Nirvana redid.
Yeah,
that.
they're both good
Yeah.
versions. I don't mind. Kurt Cobain did it well. He was trying to honor the original, in my opinion.
I don't want to. Right here. Oh wait. Oh, I was so busy watching your latest video.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, right here, Duncan.
I have old records from the 70s. I have not looked them up for years. The 70s and 80s music's coming back in. Now they're repressing a lot of the 70s and 80s. The represses, though, can sell for $20 and $30 too in mint condition. So it's muddying up the waters for the new folks buying records now for the first time, because they're buying the new ones as opposed to the vintage ones because the quality sounds better. But the old timers like me or the wife or something,
Old timers.
well, you know what I mean. but you know the folks who are diehard, who grew up on albums, want the originals. At least I do. I'd rather hear that pop and the
Oh
crackle
yeah,
and stuff.
you can't get that.
You know, and in fact, you can add that to a track on vintage ones. There's a app that you can get that will actually add pops and even some blurps and stuff into your MP3, so it sounds like they're being played on a record player.
Swamp Picker. He's in Baton Rouge, or he, whatever.
Welcome, Swamp Picker. We've been to Baton Rouge. We went to Brobridge and did the Crawfish Festival there too.
We
and,
stayed at Uncle Tan's
yeah,
place.
she's got some true Cajuns that live there.
Uncle Tan, he didn't speak a word of English. That's all he knew was Cajun, and he had a little Pomeranian that he trained to look up women's skirts.
Yeah, he was a riot. Couldn't understand half of what he said because my French is down to almost nothing. Parlez-vous français, and that's about it.
You know what's more? Cajuns. And of course, my godmother, my Nanan, as a sign of affection, she would always call me her little crot, and that means turd, but it's supposed to be affectionate.
It's a good thing.
Oh, AC/DC fan.
Which European label
right
is
there.
more desirable? Like if it's a HMV 45 from like the 50s, HMV 45s are really good for the most part. They're usually worth more than the US version. I'm trying to think. There's not a specific. There's just so many labels over there. A lot of the HMV, though, like classicals, even go for a ton of money. I mean, there'll be an HMV classical that will go for like $2,000, but the US edition only goes for like $10. Classicals I mess with more on foreign. I just don't run into enough of, rock and roll and stuff like that on foreign labels. They just don't show up as much. This one's a different story because there's a ton of them in here. So what I usually run into foreign-wise are the classicals, just because everybody passes them up, thinks classicals aren't worth something, but you get a real nice living stereo, a red seal, shaded dog, or like an angel, or something along that line. I might have some. Again, there might be some in here. I know there's at least one classical I did see when we grabbed. So why don't we grab a few more records and I'll come back and we'll.
Black Crystal Dice Headbanger. Oh, and Kent is in North Shore.
Yeah, I was
New
a
Orleans.
headbanger. I had hair down to my waist at one time.
Talking Slim Shady.
Nothing wrong with Slim Shady. There's quite a few songs that are actually pretty good. I'm not a big fan of 8 Mile or anything else like that because I don't like that style of it. I'm more going back to like a Run DMC, It's Tricky, or something along that. Old school rap is what I like.
And Kent has plenty of friends in Gulfport.
We were just there in December. We were in
Gulfport,
Gulfport.
Long Beach, past Christian.
What's that crawfish place? We're going to order from a crawfish place in Gulfport.
Oh, gosh.
It's on the main strip, too. What's that, 90 or... Somebody will probably know exactly what I'm talking about.
It's by the Salvation Army was
Yeah, there's
there.
a Salvation... In fact, we went sourcing at that Salvation Army right
Yeah,
there
we did.
in Gulfport. there's a crawfish place just past the
I forgot
Salvation
the name
Army.
of it. It's just a little bit.
Yeah, it's a
tiny
little one, but they
place.
ship, and it's one of the only ones. And we were just a week before they started selling them when we were there, or 2 weeks, so we missed out.
Right here needs to ask a question.
If you're somewhat a new seller, would you buy a haul of good video games just for inventory purposes and make very small profits? Yeah, I don't know what you get in your area, so it's kind of hard to say. Video games, you get the wrong ones, you're going to be holding on to them. If you spend a ton of money, you're going to be wasting your money because they're not going to be quick movers. If you're new, I'd be buying stuff that's going to be a quick sell, so you're not being locked in with money sitting there that you can't turn. If you got, no issues with money and money's not the issue, anything that makes a profit's fine. We buy items like RA or wholesale especially. I might get a wholesale item that we might sell 8,000 of them in 2 or 3 months and only make 90 cents profit on the items, but I'm selling 8,000 of them. So, that's the key. It depends on how many of them you get. If you're just going to be turning around and you're going to make a 90-cent profit and you've got the time to list and all that, you're just not making any money off it. It's not worth it. I would stick to stuff if you're new and you're financially, not available to do stuff like we can, to shell out $5,000 on something, to get stuff that you can turn quick. Search for the better item and flip it and build up your inventory from there.
Right here. And then you can.
Yeah, black crystal dice. I did like black. Again, Running Gun Blues, and there's so many other ones on his early albums that were really good. I like his earlier stuff almost better than some of his new stuff. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, the Laughing Gnome or something like that's a little bizarre and out there, but we've got. She's had probably almost every record he's ever had. And even like Pink Floyd has like some really screwball records that are almost comical in nature, like the Laughing Gnome. If you don't know what the Laughing Gnome is, type in the Laughing Gnome and David Bowie and you'll see what I mean. There's a Pink Floyd song that was published on a Tower label. In fact, we've had it before. It's like a $300 record, but it's a terrible song. It's like Pink Floyd's first song or something like that, maybe on a 45.
Actually watching a music video means you experience the 80s.
Yeah, I remember I wanted my MTV, but my parents just didn't get it.
My parents were too cheap
We
for
never,
the
yeah,
MTV.
my parents didn't have the money or didn't want to spend the money on it.
I had to go stay at my cool friends' houses.
Yeah, the first video that played on MTV was Video Killed the Radio Star, and
Yeah.
I saw it like 3 years after it was out. Maybe longer than that, I don't know. I was at a friend's house, and they got it like 2 years before I did. And you could only watch videos like certain times, if I remember when it first came out, or his parents wouldn't let him watch it except at certain times.
Well, how about Michael Jackson? Everybody was talking about the Thriller video, and I was the only poor sap who hadn't seen it because my parents weren't cool enough to have MTV or cable.
Yeah, we didn't have cable when I was a kid. There's Bearded Pickers on tonight. If you don't or haven't seen or subscribed to his channel, he's one of the few that I listen to while I'm packing up in the mornings. He's got a real good sense of humor. We're from that same part of the country. We lived not too far from where he's at one point in our life, so I get him very well. He reminds us of our cousin Billy, so he's got a homey kind of feeling to it. But he's got a real good channel. He puts out some RA videos. Again, I may put some out here and there, but that's not obviously what I center in on this channel. But
Kent Daigle, we are vintage.
Yeah, I'm vintage, I would say.
And then Heather.
Gene Genie was a favorite. Yeah, Gene Genie's a good one too.
That's a good one. I used to know a Denise Daigle in Bay St. Louis. Tried to look her up on Facebook, can't find her.
If Annie says if you get to new record stores these days, their top 10 bestsellers are 30, 40 years old. Yeah, somebody else told me that, and I had to laugh because I was like, what are you talking about? But I looked it up. She's exactly right. Let's just pull out a couple more on here. Now, I've never listened to this one. I've had this one once or twice. It's an Impulse, but it's the Impulse by ABC. Alice Coltrane. Now, the first time I bought this, I thought this was related to John Coltrane. I don't remember if it was or wasn't, but I don't know for sure, so I'm not going to state that. So anyway, it's $10-15, I would imagine. Now, somebody's going to recognize this one. I have to cover up on it. We did look for nudity because there's some of these early records, there's nudity on them. So I'm going to cover this up, but somebody's going to shout out what this is, I would hope. Hopefully I'm showing it where you can actually see what it is. Making sure there isn't any more nudity, and I missed a spot, so somebody will know what this is, I'm sure. But this is probably, let's see the condition before I say anything more. Oh yeah, this one's like minty too. It's Pink Floyd, for those who don't know. We'll put that over there so it doesn't get shown.
Right here, he has a question, or they have a question right there.
Let's see here. Hang on, we missed a couple. Let me go back up. I'm going to get a few questions in here so I don't miss too many. I thought I saw another one I just missed. Oh, do record club versions decrease value? For the most part, yes. Yes, because the label's different, and it's actually got a different numbering system on it. They were pressed cheaply, from what I understand, from my knowledge. I can't say for specific, but I avoid them at all costs, truthfully. Welcome, Sheila. Let's see. For the 78 records that come in a set, like 3 records that come in, excuse me, booklet-type sleeves, do you pack the records the same, or do you put something between each sleeve in the record booklet? I've got a video. I've been bombed with questions on stuff. As I said, the record videos that we put out, I've had more video or comments on those than anything else, and I've had a lot of emails asking on that. I'm going to have a video that's going to cover nothing but actually packing every kind of record that you can get. And I'm going to show you the cheapest, best way. You won't have to buy any mailers whatsoever. Everybody who buys mailers, nothing wrong with that, but I don't spend the money. Mine arrive perfectly fine. They're in thicker cardboard than the mailers, so I'm going to have that out. But in the long and short on that, I literally put a piece of cardboard, usually on the albums, it's basically a 78 album. There's usually one side that has a bigger gap than the other. So sometimes it's on the front of it, sometimes it's not. I'll put a piece of cardboard from one of the Walmart boxes, just like I do with everything else, cut to size to the front, and then I cellophane wrap the inside of it, the pages together, not real tight, but tight enough so they're not going to slide. And then I wrap that cellophane around the entire album after I've wrapped it around the inside. I've done it that way for years, and I do mean years. I shipped out 4 or 5 today that I had to carry down. That's why I didn't really want to go to the post office, because I had a bunch to carry, and it was a nuisance in 2 trips. So.
And Annie has a question.
Don't order from
Lafayette.
Lafayette.
Not a question.
I love a video on what classic records are valuable. I know the music okay, but no idea of values. Let me write that down here, because that's a good topic.
Oh, Kent Daigle, I'll send you a king cake. Oh, the days of the king cake. Whoever got the baby had to get the
they had
next
some when we were
time's
there.
king cake. Yeah. I don't really like the fancy stuffed king cakes. Just the
good old-fashioned
simple,
street ones are always the best.
Simple king cakes.
We went to Cafe Du Mans last time.
Beignets. You
Beignets,
can't go wrong
yeah.
with that.
And even the funnel cakes and stuff are really good there, too, so.
Funnel, I don't remember if they had funnel cakes. I know they had beignets.
The one place that we were at.
Oh, okay, that was not Cafe
Tony's
Du Mans.
Seafood Ships
Crawfish. Baton Rouge. Hey.
Yeah, we're going to pick the one out there because her father-in-law knows somebody out there, and we might be able to get a discount.
Your father-in-law,
my father-in-law, and her father.
My dad worked for Mississippi Power Company. He worked on the power lines.
In Gulfport, so he knows everybody.
Whenever the hurricane, he worked through Camille, he worked through Elena, Katrina, and he's retired now, but he goes all over the place still.
Oh, she's got one of our halls she's wearing too.
Oh, my moonstone. Yeah.
That came. There's another person I've talked to on here who's from Columbus, and I think you're on here maybe right now. I'm terrible on names, so I do apologize sometimes because I talk to hundreds of people these days, and I get mixed up. But that came from Hocking Hills at the big flea market there in Hocking Hills. That's an actual moonstone. It's probably the biggest one I've ever seen.
Yeah, I told him, you can get that for me.
But that's one of the picks she got. We got it at a steal, too, for what it is. But anyway. Tony's Seafood we have heard of. Give a king cake to my 500th sub on YouTube. Well, that's funny. Dire Straits. I did see a Dire Straits in one of those first 3 boxes. Let's see here. Got a bunch of 40s greeting cards. A few are almost like fabric silk insight. You can post some pictures, Carl, in the Facebook group. I won't be on until tomorrow morning with Facebook, but I will be on and answer every question that's there.
Carl.
I think my first MT video live was so stoned so long ago. Born in 67, by the way. I'm not going to... Well, I'm born in 69. We'll just 71. Give it out to... Here's a soul one. Oh, it's sealed, too. Now, Odyssey is a Northern Soul group. Odyssey has some 45s that we ended up getting in Mississippi. I bought a stack of them. I had like 200 from this group, and it turned out it was like a rare one, and there weren't many pressed, and they were dumped, so the market was dumped. And then it got hot like 25 years later, so we were selling it out of this stack, like these records, for like $250 a piece, and we had sold maybe 100 of them, literally, and I'm not exaggerating, of this group, of just that 145. So whenever I see it, I pull these up. I don't know if this is worth a bunch, but I would imagine anything like this is $15-20 right off the back. Now, we talked about radio station, Annie. Now, this just happens to be in here. I didn't know this was going to be in here, but Here's a perfect example of why these are radio station. It has the label on the bottom. This is what a radio station. Now, if this is the radio station that you're talking about on a record, this is good as gold. This shows that it was a promotional item only. These are given to radio stations. Let's look at the record before I say anything more. See, the reason being, they just pulled one out of stock, and used a regular record for the promotional. So what they do is they'll stick this on here. This brings it up a little bit, in my opinion. I usually sell these for a few bucks more. So even if this record was only $5 or $8, is probably about average for this one. I've had these before. They don't go for a ton. But with this on it, I'll be able to sell it, at least for my $10. Again, nothing under $10 I will keep.
And I like Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Blood, Sweat, and Tears. They've got some tears. In fact, what's on this one? You've Made Me So Very Happy. Spinning Wheel's good. I mean, they've got a lot. I Can't Quit Her. And When I Die, that's another good one. I mean, they're good music.
Inflated Hero.
How did I develop sources early on? I've been into vintage and collectibles. I collected Star Wars cards as a kid. I collected Kiss cards, Elvis cards, believe it or not. I collected the toys I used to send away for Mark's Toys out of the backs of comic books. I've known what we've been selling in for years. So when I went to all these places and these sales, literally I would run into people and we'd talk. They'd know similar items and, you'd talk to people. I'd call Craigslist ads and things like that. When we first started, though, it was just selling things that I collected over the years. And then we started, to sell more. We did Amazon FBA first, and we did clothing on eBay, and the whole works. That's where we started. I did clothing like everybody else.
Well,
but
it used to, like in the 90s, we could always find some really awesome vintage clothing.
Go grab that jacket up there, the red one.
Oh.
I'm going to show you what I found talking about clothing before I forget. Just a second here. This is going to be a blast from the past. I've had one other of these before.
I'll be back in a minute.
You okay?
Yeah, I'll be right back.
For those Jordan fans, I don't know how well you can see that. Hopefully you guys can see that. I figure this is worth some money. Normally I don't buy stuff like this, but for $2 I wasn't going to pass it up. I don't know when I'll put it up, but it looks like it's in excellent condition, so anyway. Talking about blasts from the past, I don't buy many pieces of clothing as you see on my channel. This one, though, I'll probably be able to sell this locally to somebody. I'm sure it'll sell. These bull jackets here. I haven't looked it up recently, but I know I sold one of these not too long ago. Well, it's been probably 9-10 months or something. But I think the last one I had, I got like $95 for. So anyway. Flock of Seagulls, I remember. I Ran So Far. Love Makes Two is a great song. Yeah, Black Crystal Dice. I meant to call that out, actually. That was a Peter Max cover. For those who don't know, Peter Max was like a very influential, what do you want to call it, like artist of the day. In fact, Peter Max does the Bob Dylan poster that I was talking about the other day that's worth $80. It's a Peter Max Bob Dylan poster. I don't think Bob Dylan was on the poster, if I remember right. It's literally just Peter Max's artwork, and that's why the poster in Bob Dylan's greatest hits record is worth $80. Let's see here. Where are we at now? Yeah, Bearded Picker's got a good channel. Definitely so. Yeah, there's some Santana in here as well. Oh, Alice Coltrane was John Coltrane's wife. Oh, I thought they were, that was the daughter. I did not know that. And I wasn't even sure on that, honestly. Mark Knopfler, I remember those two. Yeah, Derek, LPs aren't worth the time for the most part, and that's why I said this is different than most LPs that I get. If you're going to just sourcing and trying to pick up an LP here, an LP there, it's just not worth the time anymore. I stopped doing that. I pick them up in big bulk lots when I buy them. It's the only way to get them anyway these days. You're not going to find them at Savers. You're not going to find good ones sitting at any of these thrift stores. So for me, I only have one option for them. So they're just not as big of a mover as they are. After I looked at this one here, as I said, I haven't bought LPs. This is the biggest LP set I've bought in I don't know how long. I haven't bought any big LPs. I bought 5,045s just this week. I buy 78s in big mass quantities. But this one, after I looked at it, the history, what I knew about what this lot was supposed to be, everything about it is just the bomb. LPs, the problem is they're redoing them. They're repressing their classic vinyls. They're coming out of imports from Japan, and they go by gram weight. They literally have so many gram listed in the title these days, even, and how thick and how well they're pressed. That's what's killing the market. So normally I do not mess with LPs. The other issue with LPs is they take up so much more space than any of the other records. You got the covers and everything else with them. So normally I do not mess with LPs. So this is totally different story here. These LPs are, geez, I don't think I'll ever make this much on a buy ever in my life again. If the low end estimate is like $30,000 for these records, and I'm not just throwing out some crazy number. The keep value or the keep rate on these is 82 to say 84. One of the boxes it was like 76 out of the keep rate, and that's how much percentage of the box I'm keeping, and that's what I look at. This one's just some phenomenal a bunch of records. It's a radio station copies is what most of them say. I mean, there's just a ton of radio station copies in here. If it wasn't for all that, I wouldn't have bought them. You know, this is a totally different story. Don't think you're going to make a fortune selling individual ones. If you want to spend your money on records, spend them on 78s and 45s, because the return on your investment will be at least twice as much as you'll get from LPs. And I promise you that's the case. I love 45s the best, 78s are second, and LPs are my least favorite to sell. So hang on, hang on just a second. I saw a super chat. I don't want to miss anybody. Thought I saw a super chat.
He's saying yes.
Hang on, I don't like to miss a super chat. So our feed is terrible sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
So I've got to bounce all over the place.
Right
Carl,
here, Carl.
Well, thank you very much, Carl. I appreciate that super
Thank you,
chat.
Carl.
Well, don't
Hot
stop
tub.
work and get yourself in trouble.
Oh, hot tub. Oh, we got to get us one of those.
Yeah, we used to. Well, we haven't been in a little while. We went
know.
to Hockin Hills, and the hot tub wasn't so great
I know,
last time.
hot tubs. Oh, yeah, it wasn't that clean. Ugh.
Hang on, let me get back to where we were. I didn't want to miss any, but
It was a question about the art on the album cover.
hang on. Well, I'm going back down. She saw it, and I'm clueless on where we're
right
at.
here, Black Crystal Dice. Is that?
No, I already got that one.
Oh, you already
Yeah,
got that
I
one.
got that
Okay, I was gone, so I don't know. Oh, right here, Alice Coltrane was.
Yeah, I
John
saw that one
Coltrane's
too.
wife.
You missed
Huh.
that while you're up. Yeah, but again, Derek, on that, we sell records still all the time, but I don't buy big bulk lots of LPs. I guess is the point here.
Oh, right here's Eric.
Salman, without knowing what he's in there, I couldn't really tell you. Condition is the biggest, importantest thing. If these weren't in this condition they were in, I looked through these records, as I said. I looked through about 100, a box worth of records, before I decided to buy these records. I'm extremely cautious. It's hard to tell you which ones to look for, because there's so many things. Like, in collections, if you know the guy, he knows what he's got. He probably knows some idea on how much he's sunk into it. That's going to be another deciding factor. These records, there wasn't an owner to them, so there's no attachment. There's no anything else. There's, and especially if they know you're a reseller. These are just bought sight unseen. I don't know the owner. I have no idea who these came from, where they come. Neither does the facility that these came out of. They just were auctioning them off. So it's harder to deal with somebody who's a friend. I'm just going to tell you that. I don't try to deal with friends specifically because of that reason. There's always some issue that could arise from it, so just FYI.
Oh, you already got that.
Yeah,
one.
I don't.
Okay.
It's a hard one to answer.
Well, then Ridge Hill Finds.
Yeah, the way I pack 78s, as I said, I've packed 78s for
And she's
20
saying
years
thank
or
you
so.
because that's the way she did it.
Well, you're
nice.
very welcome. 78s are the first 70 I'd ever shipped out, I had no clue that they were shellac. You're bumped down too.
No, it's right
Okay.
there. See?
And it broke, and then after that I'm like, oh geez, I totally messed up on that one. And ever since then I researched the best way to do it, and I used to follow what a couple other people said, but the way that I pack them, it works so much better. The top, it makes like a rigid surface on the top, and that's usually where they fail from my personal experience. So one of the dogs has followed us down here. But thank you very kindly, Ridge Hill Finds.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, hit the like button if you hadn't. I see we always get the couple negatives. I don't really care. That's just their prerogative.
It's Henry.
Let's see here.
Who's a good boy with stinky breath? Who's a good boy?
Well, thank you, Sheila. I appreciate that.
Ooh. Okay, I'll put you
Finally
down.
visited this summer. I think you're talking about Hockin Hills, maybe.
Don't do that.
Kathy, thanks for stopping in.
All right. They might need to go outside.
Well, that's good it sold so quick. Duncan from Australia is from 69 too.
Ah, born in 69.
Bearded Picker 1069. Okay, Scott. Remember to give Don and Marky some love. Thumbs up. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
1969. Okay, I didn't know if you're trying to be the smarty there again.
Vintage bulls. He was talking about the, didn't Marjo want to wear that?
The what?
The jacket you already got?
Oh, yeah. Marjo, my youngest wanted to wear it to school, but I don't really think I want to have him do that.
Did you get this one?
Milton Glaser. I not sure if that's a performer. That name sounds so familiar. Poster Dylan, I've seen that, but haven't seen Peter Max Dylan poster. I'm almost positive the poster I'm thinking about. It's got like fanciful designs on it. I don't think Bob Dylan's on it. It's more like psychedelic floral junk on it. I don't even remember what's actually on it. Actually, at this point.
Oh my gosh. Oh, me too. True 72. I remember waiting with great anticipation for Friday night videos.
Yeah. When MTV came out, the only way you could see videos was late at night, like at 10 o'clock.
If you didn't have all the MTV.
And it was just on regular TV. They played like an hour's worth of videos. And there was only like 2 good ones. And you had to stay up the entire hour to watch that 1 or 2 good videos that you wanted to see.
Oh, right here.
Oh, the Milton Glaser. Okay, yeah, that's the Bob Dylan one you're talking about. Yeah, there's a couple versions of different posters from those albums. I think there's like a first pressing and a second pressing edition, if I'm not mistaken. Well, that I can't give out. Come on, Duncan, now. Can't give you specifics.
Oh, have to run. Have a great night. Oh, hi, Henry. Yeah.
Take it easy, Wally.
Henry wants me to lay down on the carpet with him.
Yeah, rock and roll. We have 7,000 postcards easily. It's a big difference in weight and size. I will fully agree with you. That's why we were kind of cautious. That's one big reason, because you can build up a huge collection of LPs that take up a lot of space. And I don't have stuff that usually takes up a lot of space, so I don't like getting into that too much. Yeah, there's a Judas Priest in there, Carl. I showed it in one of the videos, I think. Maybe the one that went up early this morning. We've got several more, because there's thousands of records. I could sit here for the next week and just show records from morning till night, probably.
Did you get this one too?
Yeah, I saw that one.
Okay.
I wasn't going to tell.
Right here. Yeah, we did. We just got one of the Judas Priest.
Yeah, that's what I just said. that.
Yeah, how many did you get?
I only saw the one so far. MFSL. Yeah, there's some of those in here too. Let's go and show some more records, since I've still got a big stack of them. Again, as you saw, this one here, this one's Chad and Jeremy. I don't know most of the songs on this one.
And Annie says Milton is it Glasser? Is a graphic designer.
Let's stick that one. Now, people should know this one. Deep Purple.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Smoke on the Water. Let's see what's on this one.
My older cousins had that.
Highway Stars on here. And Smoke on the Water. Space Trucking's good. It's gatefold. It's original.
I remember being a kid and
let me see how the
trying to hang out with my older, cooler cousins when they listened to
it's unplayed.
tunes.
Let's slide that one over. Pharoah Sanders, jazz. You either get him or you don't.
Oh, I love his outfit.
Yeah, I love the outfits on some of these.
I'd wear that too.
She would. She really would. Apollo Saturday Night. I've never seen this one before.
Oh, that'd be kind of neat to listen to.
It's an original Atco. In fact, it's one of the first couple hundred Atcos as well, too, so that's pretty interesting. The Coasters, Rufus Thomas, the Falcons, that's probably the best one on here. Alabama Bound, that's for the Bearded Picker. Shame I can't play it, because I'd play that one on there for you. Howlin' Wolf Sessions. Did I just drip water on it? Yeah, I did. Ooh. See, look at that. You'll have to set that one aside now. Why don't you set that one aside? Let it dry out. See, that's why you're careful and don't drink around stuff. But anyway, The Right On Sounds of Today by the original artist. So that one's pretty wild. I love the artwork on that one, man. That's pretty awesome.
Suit.
Marvin Gaye's on here. It's Inner City Blues by him. Rocksteady, Aretha Franklin. The Intruders, B.B. King. Chi Chi and Peppy. I don't know that one. Never, never, never. But let's move on to some other ones here.
Find any Devo?
I don't know. Haven't seen any yet. Devo has some A Secret Agent Man by Devo. Look that one up if you want to see something really bizarre. I think it's from like 73 or 74. Why don't you grab a couple more?
And then Kent Daigle, y'all need to come to New Orleans Jazz Fest.
We've been there for it once before.
But that was a
years
long
ago.
time
Yeah, in
ago,
the 90s.
before the kids.
Yeah, we haven't been to New Orleans since we had kids, other than going to the zoo with them.
Yeah, and the aquarium.
Now this is Bossa Nova. This one should sell.
Oh yeah, I like the Bossa Nova.
And it's on a fantasy label. Sometimes the fantasy have red vinyl, but this one doesn't. It's probably 10 or 15 bucks.
The one thing I like about New Orleans is you can get Barks Red Cream Soda out of the fountain drink.
Yeah, and that we
that's
get
the
to.
best.
Now this one you're going to have to, let me see if it's going to be hard to tell if you can see that. But it's Musical, Musicol. This is an Ohio label. They've got some on this label that come in a white cover just like this that are worth like $300-400. They're I think it's the Bowling Green Jazz something on it, but this is a local label. This label's out of Cincinnati, if I'm not mistaken. It's one I always look for around here, and I turn these up. Almost every one of these is worth 15 or 20 bucks or better. It's probably kind of hard to see, but hopefully you can see it. John Coltrane. We just talked about Coltrane. Here's a John Coltrane. Dakar. I don't know this one at all, but we'll probably listen to it too. Yeah, it's another one. I'm sure the condition-wise, I should stop looking at condition, but it's a habit.
Right here.
It's a Prestige. It's a nice one.
Rich Sanders.
Captain Beefheart. There's a Talking Heads in here too.
Red Pop.
Yeah, we got Red Pop here right now. Then this is probably Jazz. Dixie by the Seven. I guess the Seven is the name of their group. I haven't seen this one before. This one's a United Artists. Wow. K. That's what the name of it is.
Ooh, that one's dirty.
Yeah. That's why I said these have been setting for a while. We'll set that one carefully over there.
We brought home, like 2 cases of Barks Red Cream
Yeah,
Soda in the can. In the can.
Has to be in the can. Here's one that some folks probably will know. He's saying Personality, Lloyd Price, and in fact they call him Mr. Personality. Haven't seen this one before, but it's probably his first one. It's in real nice condition, of course, too. Looks minty. Let's see what else we got. Here's Ray Charles. This is a good Ray Charles. It's an Impulse, too.
Oh, Henry.
Now, Impulse is a jazz label if you're not familiar with it, so this one's probably going to do very well. 15. Oh, Quincy Jones, too.
Come here. Come here.
Both dogs now have worked their way down here.
Come here.
If we're down here, they're down here. Yeah, this one's like minty. Oh, no, it's got a couple marks on it. Probably a VG Plus. 15, 20 bucks still.
Here's Jinx.
Hey, little one.
I think they need to go outside, so I'll have to let them out.
Hey, little girl.
Not that I want to go outside right now, but I
She's
don't want them to
frisky.
poop in the house. And Henry's having a panic attack. I will be
Yeah,
back.
our dogs have panic attacks if you're unaware. Let's see here. Essay and Ragtime. Let's watch our time here. I'll get to some questions in just a second. I just got 2 more here in my hand. This is a Folkways. Now, Folkways have some really good records. They've got some scarcities that you see. This has like Scott Joplin, James Scott, James Labb, Artie Matthews, Harry Guy, Tom Turpin. Now, these are all... Robert Hampton, too, Cataract Rag. These are all early ragtime. Now, I like ragtime, honestly. If you ever have a chance to see the movie Ragtime, it's actually James Cagney's last film. It's a real good story. It's a good movie. I remember sneaking into it in the movie theater once before. I think maybe Star Wars or something else was playing at the same time, or something like that. There was another movie that was out at the same time, and Ragtime was a good movie anyway. Let's just show you one more. Machito. Now, I'm not sure if that's how it's pronounced, but for the most part, these aren't worth a ton, but some of these Afro-Cuban jazz are really good ones. Like this one should sell fairly well. It's a roulette. It's a good label. Let's see what the condition. It's VG Plus almost. But Machito ones sell, especially these kind, if it says Afro-Cuban or jazz or Latin jazz or anything along that line. I buy these all the time, so... 15, 20 bucks even in the condition you see it. So let's go back and see about some questions here. I don't want to forget. I know we do miss questions towards the end sometimes. Let's see where we're at. John Lord is the master. Yeah, Deep Purple. You can't beat that. Devo, as I said, we will look for. Talking Heads, there is one. Captain Beefheart, I will see what happens on that one. A big thank you for the advice on selling Amigo. Batman's Helicopter via your Facebook group. Got the 150 you said it would bring. Batman and Migos, it's pretty much a given on those. I will hold out on Migos any day because I usually get what I want for those across the board. It doesn't matter which one usually. As long as you're researching it and you're doing your homework and you're pricing those correctly, even missing pieces and parts, some of those Migos sell very, very well. I have a few here right now that I'm just kind of hanging on to until I get some more. Some are good to sell as a lot, and others will only sell singly, or I would only sell them singly anyway. You get more money that way. But glad to hear, Rich. I'll ship you some more with 2 king cakes. Any Kiss albums? Yes, I showed it. If you look back, and I think it was this morning's video, we have Kiss, their self-titled one. It's not the right there's 2 pressings of the first Kiss album. There's one that has Kissing Time on it, and there's one that doesn't. We got the standard version of it with Kissing Time. They changed the lineup after they started the print run on those, or the pressing. So if you get a version of Kiss, the first self-titled LP without Kissing Time, it's like $120 or so. We got the $30 or $40 version of it. So either way, it's still fine with that. Some of the covers do have ring wear, but overall they don't. These have been set on a shelf at some point, I would imagine, for a long, long time. Marilyn Monroe, I think we found one with one of her on the cover of it, actually. It wouldn't be her singing. I think it was just like a beefcake pressing. And usually they're like the Latin style, like these, like the Afro-Cuban. It's usually stuff like this that you'll see, like the beefcake covers. Jane Mansfield's on a whole bunch of them, too. Now, here's a couple. Let me pull out a couple more, because there's some real nice ones right here, actually. I used to watch this. Iria Kyriakim, I think was his name on the show. I used to watch this. I liked it. I get the trading cards. There's models. There's action figures. There's toy cars. There's all kinds of stuff for Man from Uncle. So comic books even. And I've sold the comic books for these guys, too. Let's see what these look like. Maybe there's a membership thing inside one of them. No. Yeah, it's like minty as well, too. Let's look at the other one. Cello on both of them, too. I figured $10 a piece on these. Here's a real good one here, too. The Doors' Greatest Hits. It's got the cello on it. It's a newer one. No UPC, so it's definitely an original or an earlier one. Let's move on to the next one. The Independence. It's still in the cello. Obviously a soul record. I don't know this one here. Oh, it's on a wand. Yeah, this one might do well, too. I haven't seen this one before. I have to look this one up. Oh, and here's one that shows up around here, too. Now, this is a organ one. Now, records for organs sell as well, too. So, Paramount Pipes. This is actually the organ from here in town at the old Paramount Theater. I think it's been torn down. Yeah, you can see how it kind of turns a reflection on the green screen I see in the other one. But this organ was actually at the theater. You can see it back here. Toledo Paramount Theater. I buy these whenever I find them. There's a couple rare versions of these. I usually get, say, $10 a piece on these. I'll just list them with a buy it now, no make an offer on it, just to buy it now. But organ music I do buy too, believe it or not. The old movie theater organ pipe music records do seem to sell as well too, at least from what I see anyway. Let's see what else we got here. No idea who this is, but it looks like they all signed it. No idea who that is. Joy to the World, Put Your Hand in the Hand. I'm guessing maybe folk. It says Classical Gas, so I don't know what that is, but maybe somebody knows who Here and Now is. Oh, here's a psychedelic one here too. Frigid Pink. It's on a pair at London. It's one of the first ones, I'm sure. Yeah, and it looks really nice too. But anyway, I don't want to bore everybody with all the records. We're running a little low back here. Let me see what we got back up here. Picked up a box of Lego parts. How to sell. 6 pounds or so by the pound. We usually sell the minifigures on their own. The minifigures always sell. Let's say Mr. Freeze from the Batman set. The original Batman Lego set that was issued back in, say, 2005, 2010. Like that Mr. Freeze, the body, the figure itself, the helmet, he's like a $100 figure. There's a Boba Fett, $100 Boba Fett. There's some of the Sand People from Star Wars that have a certain kind of legs that are worth money. So I always look up the actual minifigures first. Those are always the key ones that I look up. And then I'll go from there on the other ones. Bulk-wise, I used to get like $12 to $14 a pound on Legos on average. I couldn't tell you on Legos what they're going for now. We've got like 600 pounds of Legos here. You see them in some of the videos. They're literally sitting down here in a stack. Our kids used to have, geez, like 400 Lego sets. So we used to get them at a place called Dirt Cheap, and you get them 10 cents on the dollar, sometimes 5 cents on the dollar. And they'd be open boxes and things like that too. And usually you could do very, very well on something like that. Or at least we always had the good luck of doing that on those as well. So, and back to the records and stuff like this. Now, I have said in the past, I'm not big on LPs, but you get the right bunch of them. You get the right one. It's worth buying for sure. So, again, I probably won't buy another group of LPs for a long, long, long time. 45s I'll buy anytime I can get them. And 78s the same thing as well, too. Because, again, I sell more 78s online than I'd sell LPs right this minute. Of course, I don't have as many up right now. We've got a couple 100,000 records sitting at my mom's in my father's old workshop. So, anyway. The Frigid Pink Thrifty flip side, it's probably worth $15-20. Depends on the condition. No barcode. It can't have a barcode. I think there's a number on this one too. PAS 71033 is what the stereo version of this should have on it. That's the one you want. Now on some of these early garage psych rock like this, excuse me, the weather's been taking a toll on us here. But on these earlier ones, sometimes the mono version is worth better than the stereo, just because there's less of them pressed and they're harder to come by. So it just really kind of depends on it.
Hello.
Our dogs.
They
You'll probably
needed to use
go
the
outside.
bathroom.
No one wants to go outside right now. It's still like below zero outside right now. I don't know where everybody else is
Forgot my
looking
glasses.
But anyway. And covers like on the LPs too. Let's say the record's really good. You know, it looks minty or something, and the cover's trashed out. It's still worth selling some of those. There's It's Late by Arlene Woods, and she is actually she played Cinderella in the Disney Cinderella cartoon. There's a record by her. It's called It's Late, as I said, and it's her walking down a stairwell. But if you look that up, just the original record in that thing, without the cover, sells for like $150. So we sold them for that much, so I know they do. But for the most part, if the condition of the sleeve is terrible and the record's great, I'm still going to buy it if it's a decent record. Now, if it's only a $10 record, I'm not going to go out and spend the money to buy a record with a bad sleeve, because you're not going to sell it. If the record's only worth $10 with a good sleeve, don't mess with it if there's any damage to it. So anyway.
Where are you on this?
I think we're down to the bottom already.
Oh, and he says he'll ship you some more with 2 king cakes.
Yeah, we already went through them.
Maybe I can bribe my father. Hey, Dad, we're fresh out of Barks. If you love me.
Yeah, David, it's literally probably 600 pounds of Legos, would you not say?
Oh.
It took the kids forever to tear them apart, and we bend them
Yeah.
up. We've got all the books for the Legos, too. So even the instruction booklets, if you have the instruction booklets, we can average 5, 10, 15, 20, even $30 for some of the booklets to put them together. Because once the kids put them together, most of the people discarded the books.
Yeah.
They didn't need them, and they never thought, well, what are we going to do with them? We've got a box, and I'm
Oh,
talking
yeah.
a box with hundreds of the actual booklets. Sometimes I'll even just buy the booklets at a sale.
I
to
do
turn around
not
sale.
miss the days of stepping on them.
Yeah, we've stepped on our fair share of Legos.
Legos. Oh, trying to get to the bathroom at night, and there's
Middle
a
of
Lego,
the night,
Lego,
yeah.
Lego.
I can hear her
It's awful.
screaming, and it's a Lego. It's usually what happens. Anybody who has small kids realizes that's the
Did
case.
you get this one
yeah,
right here?
I've got that
Okay.
one.
And this has been a stroll down
Well,
memory
thanks,
lane.
Black Crystal Dice. Let's
Oh,
see.
they just found an original copy of
Yeah,
the
I'm
Frigid
down there.
Pink.
Will these go on the eBay store you share with us? I may try and get some of those ELO for
Ooh,
my
yellow,
son.
yes.
I might put some up on Facebook Marketplace, or not Marketplace per se, but in my Facebook group for those who may be interested. I might throw a few up in there and give them out to the chance of people buying them straight through us. Maybe, I don't know. Sometimes we've done record shows where I'll set them up, but I'm not going to sell any of the $10 plus ones at a record show.
I
so.
love ELO. Used to roller skate to them. Right here, Legos Rock, if you can find them at a garage sale. Remember we found the Harry Potter? Harry Potter. Jeez.
Yeah.
Harry Potter.
We had the double-decker bus.
Harry Potter.
We paid like $2 for it, and we ended up selling the bus and all the figures for like $65
Yeah.
or something like that.
Carl. interested in some records that we have.
Yeah, I may put some up on Facebook Marketplace, or if there's some specifics we can agree on something, maybe I can just put them up at a price and you can buy them that way. I don't sell on Facebook Marketplace, so I'd have to kind of figure out what I need to do for that. Just because, again, I don't do that very much, but there's some rock and stuff in here too. I see right here is Van Halen sitting right there on the top, and it's probably one of the better ones, of course. I grew up on Van Halen with David Lee Roth. I met him. I actually ate dinner with him once before.
And another Moody Blues.
Yeah, more Moody Blues in there.
I like that. I just absolutely love looking at the old fashion that the men used to wear.
Yeah, they wore those all the way into the 70s.
Look at that little top with his belly hanging
Yeah,
out.
something
That's
you wouldn't
funny.
see a gentleman wearing these days.
Well, I don't know. Some people.
What's the ticking?
Oh, yeah, our clock.
Yeah, I always have a clock. That's just a bad habit. I talk about that. I have clocks all over the
I'm
house.
sitting at a car at a red light.
Yeah, we've got three right here, actually.
Kent, Panama.
Or two. Here's another one. Van Halen, Fair Warning. So this is Love, Sinner's Swing, Unchained.
Did you show the back of that? With him jumping,
Well, I
David Lee
don't
Roth?
think I did. Sunday afternoon in the park. Yeah, I'm a pretty big Van Halen fan. In fact, there's another one here even too. Diver Down. Where Have All the Good Times Gone? Hang 'Em High. Oh Pretty Woman. Dancing in the Streets. Happy Trails, I was always surprised to
I
hear
like
by
that.
him. I kind of thought that was kind of odd. Van Halen rules, though. Priest, Sabbath, Rush. I'm not a big Rush fan, though, so anyway.
Oh, I love this. I love the illustration, the art on this.
It's probably going to show off these
That's
of the green screen,
so
but
wild.
it's pretty wild. We're
Can
going
you
to have
see
to
that?
cut it off here in just a minute.
That's neat.
I don't know that one, but we'll have to look that
I'll
one
listen. I'll listen to
up.
it.
It's a
anyway.
Charmin toilet paper promotional record is what that is. We'll
Oh,
leave that one down.
wow.
We'll leave it for next
That's
time.
neat. Oh.
Well, we're going to have to cut it off here because we're really at the line now. I kind of paid attention to the time. I won't have the clock on next time if that's annoying to anybody here. It's just a force of habit. I hear it all the time, so I kind of don't even realize it's clicking in the
Yeah.
background here. So anyway, I appreciate everybody coming on. Thanks, everybody, for being on tonight. If you have any questions, comments, or anything like that, just leave some comments down below if there's anything else you need, and we will go from there. If you didn't hit the like button, go ahead and smash that like button for us. But we're going to sign off and say good evening, and hope you have a good night.
Bye.